Interviews are tough, and a lot of people don't tell you how to properly answer interview questions, or better yet, how to properly tell stories in interviews. So I'm going to be the one to do it for you. Wagwan, my name is Jermaine, also known as the Job Father. I am a coach and a technical recruiter that helps people get jobs in tech. Not to boast, but I've helped 420 black people get new jobs in tech since 2019 with techniques like this. Walk with me. So you'll hear it all the time. Yo, if you want to do good in an interview, tell a story. But people don't tell you how to tell that story. They'll tell you what kind of story to tell, but the actual act of telling a story is lost on a lot of people. And that's fair, you know what I'm saying? Because storytelling is an art form in itself. So as somebody that has loved stories since they've grown up, was a theater kid growing up, I came to realize that the best way for me to tell a story was to actually just totally jack the 3-act structure that is common in theater, common in novels, common in movies. And for those that are unaware, the 3-act structure is Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, or the beginning, middle, and end. Pretty simple, straightforward. You've probably heard of it before. Now, what makes my approach, or how I approach it in interviews, a bit different is this. Everyone knows about STAR and PAR, situation, task, action, results, or my preferred one, PAR, problem, action, results. Pretty straightforward. That's what you're supposed to do to tell a story or to answer an interview question, or to, write out a bullet point on your resume. Now, I like to bring in the 3-act structure from theater into play because it perfectly grafts onto this. Walk with me. So you can do this for literally any movie, any book series, but think of it this way. Act 1, or the beginning of your story in it, or the beginning of your answer in your interview, should focus on talking about the status quo of how things are supposed to go, and then the problem that was introduced that totally disrupted that status quo. Examples of this could be, we make certain X amount of money off of this client, and then this client was pissed because they found out that we were overcharging by 10% what the market dictated, and they felt ripped off, right? You always start the story out with your problem. Then the next thing you want to do is to go into what I like to call action, right? Now, a lot of people get this twisted up because they actually think like Act 3 is the action, but it's not. Problem, action, result. Act 1 is the problem. Act 2 is the action to address the problem, both in terms of how you identified the action, right? And how you went about executing the action. The main problem that a lot of people do is they think that once they detail how they executed on the action, that's the end of the story. No, that's just the end of part 2. Part 2 is 2 halves. You are telling them about how you identify what the right solution was to address the problem, and then you are telling them what happened and how you went about implementing that solution to address that problem. Now, Act 3, right, is the resolution, or in that PAR, problem, action, results. You are supposed to tell us what the end game was, what happened, who benefited, what changed. Did we go back to the status quo? Did we not go back to the status quo? All right. So it'd be like this. If the action was the client was pissed, right, and we decided to find out what we could do to get them a bigger discount, and then we implemented the discount, what should the result be? And the result should be sound like this. Actually, the client was ecstatic. They renewed their business with us, and then they even referred more people over to us. So in the end, we actually ended up making double off of that client of what we did the year before, right? Problem, action, result. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. The beginning of your story should talk about the problem. The middle of your story should talk about how you found the solution to the problem and how you went about implementing it. And the end result should be how everybody lived happily ever after. Next time you go into an interview, use this technique. Let me know if it works. But until next time, I wish you nothing but the best. Stay dangerous. Peace and love.